Welcome to a brief presentation of how VinTel and Accu-Trade are changing the way the industry is understanding the condition and valuation of vehicles. Hello, this is Keith McCord, CEO of VinLogic, and today I'd like to take the opportunity to explain how the science of incorporating the VinTel mechanical condition report of a vehicle within Accu-Trade has created revolutionary steps in understanding vehicle valuations at any disposition stage of their life cycle. Since Henry Ford brought the automobile to the masses in 1908, different industries that touch a vehicle to gather information during that vehicle's life cycle have been created. Unfortunately, each of these industries have been built around narrow, point-specific solutions biased towards their market niche. Think of each of these solutions as a strobe light. Each solution only highlights information about the vehicle when their specific strobe light is lit. Unfortunately, this enables the industry to have very narrow focused point solutions which fail to translate across multiple disciplines and create an inherent bias towards the solution and the information it generates. Together, Accu-Trade and VinTel combine to provide an agnostic, multifaceted platform that facilitates a common data path throughout the entire life cycle for a 17-digit VIN. By effectively turning on the house lights and eliminating the strobe light effect, the data, descriptions, and the meanings that follow that 17-digit VIN are common throughout the various industry solutions, thus allowing a new communication standard to be in place. The VinTel system consists of a made in the USA OBD module designed by VinLogic that communicates with the various systems on the vehicle. The data is then seamlessly passed to the Accu-Trade app running on any smartphone or tablet. By integrating the mechanical conditions extracted from the OBD system on the vehicle with the physical condition report derived through the Accu-Trade app, the result is a complete 360-degree understanding of the condition and effects of the conditions throughout the various touch points of the vehicle's life cycle. The VinTel system was designed to be used by someone that has no experience or understanding of gathering mechanical information on a vehicle. In fact, no direct user interaction is required to extract the diagnostic information from that vehicle. Training takes 5 minutes or less. In fact, let's quickly go through the steps to extract the mechanical condition from a vehicle using the VinTel module. First, the Accu-Trade app should be open on the smartphone or tablet. Next, the vehicle's engine is started, or in the case of an electric vehicle, the vehicle is switched on. It is not recommended driving the vehicle while the scan is going on, as the OEMs will lock out certain safety tests from occurring while the vehicle is in motion, thus making the scan incomplete. Finally, the VinTel module is plugged into the OBD diagnostic port on the vehicle. The OBD port is universally shaped and typically located within 1 foot of the steering wheel under the dashboard. The VinTel module will automatically identify the vehicle, set up specific OEM level diagnostics based on the 17-digit VIN, and then relay the scan information to the Accu-Trade app, where the information will be automatically added to the appraisal for that VIN. The VinTel module communicates to Accu-Trade over the Bluetooth Low Energy interface, and that same interface is also used to automatically perform over-the-air updates to the VinTel module through the phone or tablet to ensure that the latest vehicle technology is always supported by the VinTel module. Adding a VinTel scan to the Accu-Trade appraisal has little to no impact on the appraisal process. Other than starting the vehicle and plugging in the VinTel OBD device, the appraisal continues as normal. In the lower left, a BMW X5 is being scanned in real time. Depending on the year, make, and model of the vehicle, a VinTel scan will take between 30 and 90 seconds to complete with no interaction required. Typically, while the appraiser is walking the vehicle and creating the Accu-Trade condition report, the VinTel module will upload the mechanical condition to the VinTel cloud-based servers, normalize, analyze, and develop the information, which is then transmitted back to the Accu-Trade app. From the time that the VinTel scan is complete to the Accu-Trade app informing the appraiser through a pop-up that the VinTel information has been captured and the appraisal has been updated to include VinTel data only takes a few seconds. Again, all of this occurs with no user interaction. The only step is to remove the VinTel module from the vehicle once the Accu-Trade app reminds you that it's finished. The key point to understand is that for an additional investment of the 15 seconds or less it takes to start the vehicle and plug in the VinTel module, the mechanical condition information that is added to the Accu-Trade condition report and appraisal makes this the most accurate and comprehensive appraisal system available today. The VinTel mechanical condition status is seamlessly displayed within the Accu-Trade toolset, starting at the Accu-Trade dashboard. When an Accu-Trade appraisal has a VinTel diagnostic scan associated with it, a small VinTel icon will appear, and the color of the icon, which will be covered shortly, quickly will indicate the status of the VinTel mechanical condition. If none of these status icons are displayed on your Accu-Trade dashboard, ensure that the history display option is enabled by clicking on the gear wheel icon on the right side of your Accu-Trade dashboard and that the history box is checked. Contact your Accu-Trade representative if the VinTel icon still does not display, as it may need to be enabled on the Accu-Trade account. The same VinTel icon from the dashboard will also appear on your appraisal window. If the VinTel icon is grayed out, it means that there has not been a VinTel diagnostic scan for this VIN's appraisal. Otherwise, the VinTel icon will be shown in one of three colors. A green colored VinTel icon means that nothing in the VinTel scan data is impacting the mechanical condition of this vehicle per industry standards. A yellow colored VinTel icon means that some mechanical challenge exists within the VinTel data, but none of them have an impact on the Accu-Trade appraisal. This could be something as simple as a license plate that is non-functional, or any other minor issues that may normally be covered during the reconditioning process and adjusted accordingly. Note that a notation is included in the appraisal worksheet, noting that the status as well as a small summary pull-down which can be used to add clarity to the notation. A red colored VinTel icon means that there are mechanical challenges within the VinTel derived data that will impact the Accu-Trade condition report. Once again, a notation on the appraisal worksheet alerts to this update and the appraisal deduction status, as well as the summary pull-down, which can be used to better understand the deduction impact on this appraisal. The VinTel mechanical condition report integration within the Accu-Trade app even carries through to the internal and customer-facing condition reports. The mechanical challenges detected through the VinTel system are clearly described along with the associated deduction values, building an unbiased, concise, and simple to understand appraisal. Although Accu-Trade automatically alerts and applies any deductions derived through the mechanical condition report from VinTel, the appraiser is always free to dive deeper into the VinTel data by clicking on the VinTel icon. This will then bring up the VinTel Diagnostic Status Report, also known as the VinTel DSR, which can be printed, emailed, texted, and even shared through most web browsers. So what does the VinTel DSR consist of, and how can that information be leveraged to better understand mechanical condition? Let's dig in. The VinTel Diagnostic Status Report, or DSR for short, is a top-down report showing the current mechanical condition of a vehicle scanned with the VinTel OBD device. The report is an HTML-based document that can be viewed by anyone with an internet connection. The VinTel DSR is broken up into three distinct areas of information. The left side of the DSR is the report overview. Here there is a branding opportunity where the dealership or auction's brand can be added to this report. Below that is the VIN number and its decoded value. VinTel employs Gal's market data integration to tie into the Accu-Trade report seamlessly. Information is also included in this section, such as fuel level, battery voltage, and systems checked during the VinTel scan. Additionally, the DSR report details include timestamp information and the unique report ID, along with what module or person assigned to the module performed the scan. Each VinTel module is serialized to allow the tracking of modules. Furthermore, each time a VinTel module is used, it creates a unique report that is kept online in perpetuity, which enables building of the vehicle's pedigree. So if you are deploying this system within a service drive, you're creating a CPO program that is unrivaled. The next portion of the VinTel DSR is the diagnostic summary. This section consists of a quick look icon-based dashboard and plain English exception list that conveys issues that have been determined to be exceptions within the mechanical condition report according to aggregated industry standards. The icon dashboard allows a quick look to guide the appraiser to what vehicle areas in the DSR require further understanding by continuing down the DSR report. The final section of the DSR is the diagnostic details, where the meat and potatoes of the vehicle's information resides. We will cover this in details in just a second, but this is a section of the report that the appraiser can consult to really deep dive into the mechanical condition of the vehicle. An extensive in-depth tutorial about each piece of information within the DSR is available on the VinTel YouTube channel by visiting govintel.com/tutorial. The VinTel DSR dashboard appears at the very top of every report and gives a quick overall synopsis of the mechanical condition of the vehicle. Each point of interest is represented by an icon to quickly highlight to the appraiser areas of interest that can impact the Accu-Trade appraisal. Each icon has two or more representations, which are shown both in color and text differentiation. Let's break down really quickly the different icons going left to right at the top of the DSR. The first icon represents the overall status of the mechanical condition. If there are no exceptions to the report, the green normal icon will be shown. If there are exceptions present, which will be covered later, the icon changes to a yellow warning icon as shown. If there are exceptions indicated, then the appraiser should continue investigating the DSR. If the green icon is present, indicating a normal vehicle, then any further investigation is optional. The check engine light status is indicated by the standard check engine symbol icon. This icon indicates whether the check engine light on the dashboard is being requested to be illuminated. Keep in mind that roughly 90% of the trouble codes on a vehicle do not request the check engine light to be lit. Typically, only trouble codes that are emissions related will cause the check engine to be shown. The next icon is a general indicator if other warning lights are being requested to be illuminated on the dashboard by various vehicle systems. Examples of these systems include airbags, ABS, tire pressure monitoring systems, etc. Details of what trouble codes and related systems requesting the warning lights are shown later in this section. But this gives a quick indicator that other warning lights are on and further investigations of the DSR is warranted. Diagnostic trouble codes, or DTCs for short, are represented by one of three icons. If there are no current, pending, or permanent DTCs on the tested vehicle systems, then this icon will appear as a green circular wrench. If there are DTCs that are currently active, meaning that the trouble code or issue is occurring now, the icon will be a red square wrench with a count of current DTCs represented below it. There may be other pending or permanent DTCs present, but current DTC status will always take precedence. If there are no current active DTCs, but there are pending and or permanent DTCs present, then the icon will be represented with a yellow triangle wrench. Permanent DTC codes are trouble codes that occurred and will remain for at least the next 50 starts regardless of the reset status. Thus, even if a vehicle is cleared of DTCs, the permanent trouble codes will remain, giving insight into the history of the vehicle. Pending codes are trouble codes that are intermittently occurring and haven't occurred enough yet to mature into current trouble code status. To better understand DTCs in their various states, refer to the VinTel tutorials available online. Occasionally, vehicles will be manually reset to clear codes. While this can be a result of a repair where a technician has cleared the codes to make sure the repair satisfies the issue, a majority of what occurs is codes being cleared to mask issues during your transactions. The mill reset icon indicates quickly whether this vehicle indicates a manual reset with a scan tool has occurred. Consulting permanent trouble codes can give insight into what possibly could be masked, since permanent codes, again, cannot be reset manually. The final icon indicates the status of the emission monitors. In areas that are regulated by federal emission laws for registration, the status of the emission monitors will indicate whether the vehicle at this time qualifies as passing emissions. If the vehicle is located in a state that does not test for emissions, then this icon can be disregarded. But if local laws dictate federal emission standards must be followed, the emission status icon is important. The emissions icon will indicate green if it passes all emission monitors available for that vehicle, or it will display red if one or more emission monitors have not passed. When vehicles are manually reset, all emission monitors will be set to fail and may require extensive drive cycles for the monitors to pass. Therefore, labor to complete the required drive cycles should be considered. The key takeaway for the DSR dashboard is that it gives the appraiser a quick look at the status of the vehicle and guides their pathway forward into the rest of the DSR based on their appetite to understand more about the vehicle and its mechanical conditions as it impacts the Accu-Trade appraisal. The VinTel DSR exception summary is a quick look assessment of the vehicle's mechanical conditions. It provides in clear and concise terms any issues within the VinTel scan that are affecting the Accu-Trade appraisal. Each determined exception is based on data compared against aggregated industry-wide standards for issues that affect either value, safety, emissions, or drivability. Think of the exception list as a text version of the DSR dashboard with a bit more detail. Included in the exception summary is a list of all the vehicle systems that are affected by the various DTC codes found in the scan data. Additionally, if the VinTel system suspects that a vehicle has data indicating a crash event or accident has occurred, that will be highlighted here. This is done through algorithms with the VinTel cloud-based systems on historical cohort analysis of crash data, and this exception can trigger the vehicle to be more closely inspected up on a rack or with a paint meter. The balance of the DSR contains the extended mechanical condition information that can be used to further investigate the effects upon the Accu-Trade appraisal. Again, this isn't required to delve this deep into the technical aspects of the mechanical condition, as Accu-Trade automatically handles the details of these in the appraisal, but the data is here for review if desired. The first set of extended information in the DSR pertains to DTC reset information. Although the industry labels this as reset information, it actually contains a lot more than that. There are three distinct sets of information within this reset information table. First is the time and distance that a vehicle has had the check engine light or mill illuminated. Some manufacturers only support the concept of distance, so time will not be available on these vehicles. Regardless, this gives insight to how long a check engine light has been on. If a vehicle's had a check engine light on for, say, 12,000 miles, you generally have to question how well the vehicle was serviced. This gives another yardstick as which the vehicle's pedigree can be measured. The second set of DTC reset information highlights the time and distance since a DTC code has been cleared. Cleared in the sense of reset information means that the DTC codes were either manually or automatically cleared on the vehicle. One of the wonderful things about modern day OBD2 systems is its capacity to self-correct issues on the vehicle. For example, if a vehicle went through a deep snowbank and the catalytic converters were chilled to the point of inefficiency, a DTC could be set regarding the efficiency of the catalyst. This would show up on the DSR report immediately. But as the vehicle went down the road and the catalytic converters came back up to temperature, then the OBD2 system would see that the DTC is no longer active and would reset the code automatically. At this point, the time and distance since the reset would be 0. The final portion of the reset information section is the warm-up count since cleared. A warm-up cycle is the engine being cold, warming up to operating temperature, and cooling back down to ambient air temperature. That constitutes one warm-up cycle and prevents someone from just starting and stopping the engine to bump the warm-up counts. In the event that the vehicle has been manually reset by a scan tool, this count will be reset to 0. If there are less than 10 warm-up cycles present, the VinTel system considers this vehicle being manually reset and will pass this to the exception report, set the dashboard icon, as well as alerting Accu-Trade appraisal of the potential manual reset event. The next set of extended DSR information is the emissions monitor status. Depending on the engine type, gasoline or diesel, certain tests or monitors are either continuously or non-continuously monitored to ensure that the vehicle passes federal emissions requirements. These tests can vary by engine type and model, so VinTel system builds this table dynamically for the specific 17-digit VIN. Each available test is listed as well as its status. Test status can either be shown as passed or test statuses can show failed. It is up to the appraiser to understand local laws regarding the number of emission monitors that can fail while still allowing the vehicle to pass local emissions qualifications. Skipping over a section, the final section is the diagnostic trouble code section. This section contains all the details of any trouble codes that were extracted by the VinTel module from the vehicle systems and subsystems. Each DTC that is present is shown in the table as well as its status, current, pending, and permanent, as well as the system associated with the DTC, its 5 or 7-digit DTC code, and finally the technical OEM description of the DTC. An icon for each DTC state shows if the DTC is requesting a dashboard light to be illuminated or not. One of the most powerful advantages that the VinTel system provides is taking all of the science that is in the vehicle data and the VinTel DSR and producing information that equates to easily understandable and actionable information. Through a patented process, the VinTel system takes the mechanical challenges found during the VinTel scan and lists the problems in easy to understand English descriptions along with common fixes and the effect that they have on the value of the vehicle. The VinTel system first combines DTCs that point to a single issue as to not to double or even triple deduct for the same issue in the appraisal. These then are aligned to an easy to understand, non-technical description to give an investigative pathway to resolution. For instance, in the example shown, the DTC codes lead to a simple description of catalytic converter, driver's side fault, check for aftermarket parts, oxygen sensors, and replace the catalytic converter. Thus, in simple terms, the appraiser doesn't have to figure out the technicalities of bank 1 or bank 2 or even what the codes mean. This is a problem with the driver's side catalytic converter specifically in our example. But before replacing the catalytic converter, the appraiser should look for aftermarket exhaust or if other oxygen sensor issues are also found. If oxygen sensors issues on the driver's side were present in this DSR, the problem then is most likely the less expensive route of replacing the oxygen sensors than replacing the expensive route of the catalytic converter. The diagnostic description merely provides a path to make an accurate appraisal based on the information from the VinTel technology. The VinTel system also provides the most common repairs from the combined list of trouble codes. In the event that an OEM recommends assembly level replacement instead of component repair, it is noted here. If an appraiser decides that they have the means and wherewithal to say repair a transmission instead of replacing it, they can make that decision. And finally, the VinTel system includes OEM cost of parts or assemblies and non-warranty labor hours for the repair. To keep in line with several industry standards, such as those required by the NAAA, only OEM parts at retail cost are shown. If the appraiser wishes to pursue aftermarket or recycle parts for the repair, they can do so at their own discretion. All of this information is included in the Accu-Trade appraisal so that the conversation with the end user can be had through either the Accu-Trade condition report alone or in conjunction with the VinTel DSR. Next, we will look at how the VinTel patent pending science behind all this works. It starts with the mechanical condition scan from the VinTel module. The payload for the specific 17-digit VIN is built and executed on the vehicle to an OEM level diagnostics. Warning, first-time VinTel users can be startled as the vehicle once put into diagnostic mode by the VinTel module may honk its horn, turn on fans, exercise solenoids, etc. Once the deep dive in the system is complete, the VinTel module then packages the results for transfer up to the cloud. To transfer the payload information from the module to the cloud, the VinTel module temporarily connects to the Accu-Trade app through the Bluetooth Low Energy network. This data payload is transferred typically in under 1 second. Once the transfer is completed, the Accu-Trade app sends this payload up through the internet to the VinTel cloud system running on our Amazon Web Service network. In the event that the internet is not available on the tablet or phone at the time of the scan, the device will go into a store and forward mode, which will allow the appraiser to continue to scan the vehicles, and the transfer will complete automatically once an internet connection is established. Once the vehicle scan data is in the VinTel cloud, this particular data is then analyzed, converted, and in this example, the DTC codes are matched to the OEM specific description and information for them. The VinTel database currently contains over 120,000 DTC codes broken down by OEM and is constantly being updated as new vehicles and tests are being introduced. The analyzed data then is transferred to the VinTel Topaz Analytics engine, where the layman's descriptions, parts, and labor costs are assigned. It is also at this phase where the DTCs are combined into related problems to avoid incorrectly assigning multiple deductions to the same problem. From here, the information is then built into a report that is fed both to the VinTel DSR and a payload to Accu-Trade. In this example, 4 unique DTC codes are actually related to only 2 real problems, which require the replacements of 2 oxygen sensors, identified here as the front driver and front passenger oxygen sensors. And finally, the data is passed to the Accu-Trade application on the phone or tablet. A pop-up will appear noting that the adjustment from the VinTel report is automatically applied to the appraisal. The entire time from when the data is uploaded from the VinTel module until it is updated on the Accu-Trade appraisal's phone or tablet is under 10 seconds. Thus, as the appraiser is walking the car, taking pictures and notes, the VinTel adjustments will already be completed well before they finish their physical inspection. When an appraiser receives their VinTel modules, they will need to be associated with their Accu-Trade account. The process to this is simple, and it's all done within your Accu-Trade application. First, the lower left-hand side of the Accu-Trade screen, you should select the My Account button. This will then bring up a menu, and My Account will be selected from the drop-down menu. As shown, it is the first menu item. A window containing the setup for the account will pop up. At the top of the window are tabs. The add-on tab should be selected. This will show all the add-ons associated with the Accu-Trade account. Towards the bottom will be the VinTel option. If this option is not available, please contact your Accu-Trade representative. Select the Manage Devices button to the right of the VinTel logo. The VinTel Manage Device window will appear. To add a new module, select the Add Devices as shown. Each VinTel module is uniquely serialized and identified. This identification number is on the sticker located on the underside of the module. The number as circled in the example is the module ID. This will be needed for the final step. The Manage Devices window will appear, and the device ID retrieved from the back of the module sticker should be entered as shown. From there, the other information can be filled in as required. Once the Add Device button is selected, the device will now be available for use. Thank you for watching this brief presentation on how Accu-Trade and VinTel are setting the standard for vehicle valuations across all disciplines. If you have any questions about the VinTel system, please visit our website at govintel.com, where there are tutorials, knowledge bases, order forms for addition modules, and all of our contact information. Have a great day.